Celeb Savant is a career retrospective type interview focusing on singers, actors, and industry experts. Join Barrett Edelstein now as he dives into the entertainment world.
Jordan Anthony is an Australian-born, American-based pop artist whose music captures the emotional whiplash of growing up, falling in love, and starting over. First introduced to a global audience through American Idol, Jordan has quickly evolved from a breakout TV moment into an artist with a clear voice and a deeply personal point of view. Across releases like Hurt Me Sooner, Reckless, and Lost in LA, Jordan has carved out a lane defined by emotionally raw storytelling, soaring vocals, and a knack for turning heartbreak into anthems. His 2026 releases include Lost in LA, Existing with Chloe Caroline, and Wrong Impression. These releases mark a new chapter, one that leans further into vulnerability while scaling his sound into something bigger, more cinematic, and undeniably universal. Up next on Celeb Savant, we've got Jordan Anthony.
Where in the world are you and how are you doing?
I am doing very well, thank you for asking. And I am currently in Nashville, Tennessee. I just moved here recently, about a week ago.
So did you move there from LA?
I did, yes. I was in LA for about a year, and now I'm taking Nashville for a spin. I'm originally from Australia. Perth, Australia is home for me, but yeah, out here in the US and grinding this beautiful music career of mine that I'm trying to make happen.
Why did you decide to move from LA to Nashville?
I just think I wanted a change of pace. I've done a few trips out to Nashville, and I have a beautiful community of people out here. I actually just moved in with my best friends, Rachel Gray and Blake Prohl, who are also fellow artists. Yeah, we all moved in together, and I think for me it was just, trying something new. I don't have much to lose, and nothing really tying me down at the moment, and I'm trying to do everything I can to make this music dream a reality. And I had an opportunity to work with some different people out here in Nashville, and I thought, why not?
Okay, so now let's rewind. At what age, whether as a child or teenager, did you think, okay, I want to be in this music world, and how did that journey progress?
For me, music has really always been the only option. I think I grew up around a lot of music. My parents met in a musical. I did musical theater growing up, and started writing songs when I was about 7 years old to deal with bullying at the time. And that was kind of my way of expressing things that I didn't really want to speak about was through songs and through music and songwriting. And so, that was kind of my outlet, and music's just always been that one thing that's been there for me. Yeah, I tried some different things, and in the end, I think I've just landed on the fact that really music is kind of my calling and my purpose and what I'm meant to be doing with my life.
I read that you entered Idol's America, USA.
I did. American Idol, yes.
Tell us about that journey.
It was really funny. I got an email one day randomly that my mum forwarded me, and it was from the American Idol producers, and they were asking me, like, have you ever heard of American Idol? And I was like, yeah, I've heard of it once or twice. Like,
but wait,
I grew up.
Sorry to interrupt. Were you in America at this point, or were you still in Australia?
No, still in Australia. I had no intentions of moving to America as of yet. And I get this email, and I'm like, yeah, like, I've heard of American Idol. I grew up watching American Idol clips and best moments and all that type of stuff. And I get on a call with them, and I'm like, that I'm in Perth, Australia, like the furthest place ever from America. And they're like, yeah, we know, we found you on TikTok. Like, we found your singing videos on TikTok. We love your voice. We were wondering if you can be here next week to audition for the judges in Katy Perry's hometown. And I'm like, okay. It's just one of those things that, you say yes and figure it out later. And yeah, literally I was on a plane the next week going to audition.
And what for you was the Idol experience like?
I have not a bad thing to say about it, seriously. I met so many incredible people through Idol, and My best friends through the industry now, I met through Idol, and yeah, at the end of the day, like that Idol was the thing that kind of creaked open the door for me in the industry out here in the US to really kind of get my foot in the door and try and make my mark. And truly, I loved the experience, and it was really, really special. It was cool.
When did you do it? What year was that?
2024.
Oh, so that was 2 years ago.
Yes.
Okay, so now Idol's been around with an X Factor. There's been all these various shows, and they're all popular. And do you think they're still as relevant in culture as they were maybe 5, 10, 15 years ago?
Yeah, I definitely think they're not. I think as time goes on, I think for some reason, I can't quite put my finger on it, but I think it's losing its relevance and its pull in the real industry. And it's funny you asked me that question because, you know, people are like, well, should I go on American Idol? Like, I'm thinking about doing it. And I'm like, absolutely. I think where people go wrong at, I think they expect it to make them into a star. And I don't think that the shows like that have the ability to create stars like they used to back in the day with Kelly Clarkson or Adam Lambert and people like that. I think now in a world where social media and virality is so key, I think that it's mostly up to you as to, it's an incredible platform and you get a lot of eyes on you for a split second. And then I think after the show's said and done and the camera stopped rolling, I think then it really is up to you to kind of forge those next steps in your career and decide what you're going to do with those eyeballs that have been on you for however long. You know what I mean?
I think a lot of people also think, okay, well, I've been on it. All these eyeballs have been on me. Millions of people watching is now like, I step out of it, whether I'm top 10, top 20, the winner, and now things will just happen.
Yeah.
And that's where I think a lot of people make a mistake is that things will just happen. They don't realize they have to put just as much work in to allow those things to happen.
100%. Totally agree. Yeah.
Do you think there's a stigma related to have been on a show like that? I was speaking to one of the Voice UK winners, Molly Hocking, and she definitely felt that being a winner and being on a show like that, there was sort of a label put on her after winning that, oh, she was a Voice winner, in inverted commas.
I think it's a mixed bag because I think, yes, I think the short answer is yes, there definitely is. And I'm not sure why. But there definitely is like a stigma around those types of TV shows. I think it also depends how much you yourself, having been on the show, like chooses to kind of market yourself using that. Like, you know, after the show, there's a buzz around it. And so, you know, sometimes you find in your social media videos, you need to like mention American Idol or whatever show you were on. And I think if you ride that wave too hard, I think then it can kind of, later in your career, it can really hurt you in terms of breaking away from that label. I feel really lucky with my experience in terms of I went on there, I did my thing, and then afterwards I really tried to make it about my music and be like, hey, like all these new people, like this is who I am as an artist, and this is what I'm about, and you know, come on this journey with me now as an artist and let's like grow together and kind of almost transitioning the fan base into being there for you as opposed to because you were on the show.
Yes. So instead of having American Idol as a crutch and a label as part of Jordan Anthony equals American Idol, it is now Jordan Anthony is now, this is my journey. And one of the points down there was American Idol.
Totally. It's like it was part of my journey, but not my identity. And I think when people make it their identity, that's when it kind of can become a bit of a trap.
How do you create a song?
It's a great question. Well, a lot of the time in LA and in Nashville, you go into a songwriting session, which is basically you pull up to usually the producer's studio and there's usually, you know, me, the artist, a producer, and another writer, or sometimes two writers. There's usually 3 or 4 people in the room. And basically you organize these sessions with these creatives and the goal is for the day is to essentially write a song from scratch. For me, my process, I'm a very melody-driven artist and I truly believe that hits are hits because of their melodies. And so usually like it's, you know, you go in there, you talk for a little bit and catch up. And I always try and offer, you know, a concept or something I'm feeling or a title or anything that I'm feeling that day. And I'll usually bring that into the room to kind of talk about with everyone. And we'll kind of go from there. I love sitting at the piano and getting some chords down and starting to get some melodies and just like, you know, humming gibberish of like, it's not words, like there's no words yet, but I think usually finding a really strong melody, I then like to then write lyrics to the melody. And yeah, we just kind of go section by section and until you have a song. It's a very weird and amazing process. You know, it's a weird question because I'm like, damn, it's kind of strange what we do. We go in and we pour out our feelings, and you go get really vulnerable with sometimes people that you've never even met, and you create this thing that never even existed that morning when you walked in the room. Like it's super bizarre.
Okay, you referenced that you believe that hits or popular songs stem from melodies. In every person's life, there's this comparisons. You know, whether in the fitness industry, the financial industry, exams, students, whatever, there's always this comparison. So for you personally, once you've had a song that's sort of blown up, it's done really well, and then now all of a sudden, okay, now I have to now create another song. How do you get out of that situation of the comparison of like, okay, this is going to be its standalone, brilliant song. It's not about now recreating a song that has been successful in the past.
Ask me that when I have a hit. I think that'll be a lot easier to answer. Hopefully when I have my hit.
Not hopefully, let's say when you have your hits. Let's put that out
Right.
there.
It's hard because I think when you start to chase numbers, it becomes a little dangerous. Guess I could say with the social media, it's like when something pops off on social media and then you like try to like back it up, and the thing that you back it up with does not very well. Like it's tough. You know, some friends of mine that have had hit songs that I've spoken to, it can be really hard and really detrimental, as weird as that may sound, because having a hit, it's every songwriter's dream, right? But it's like when that becomes the new bar that you've kind of set for yourself, and it's very rare that the follow-up is going to be is also a hit, it can be challenging to come to grips with that fact that it can't always be a hit. You know what I mean? So I think continuing to create from that place of innocence and of joy, and like remembering why you started songwriting in the beginning, because it had to begin somewhere. And for me, that was my little 7-year-old self in the living room and the piano writing songs, because I loved writing songs, because it meant something to me. So I think just never losing that sense. And it's difficult because we're in a world where like clicks and views and instant gratification is so relevant, and it almost defines your success completely in this industry. So I have to remind myself of what I just said sometimes. I almost need to take my own advice, because I sometimes get bogged down by that, of the numbers and the this and the that, and forget why I actually write songs in the first place.
You referenced earlier about feelings. Now, I'm not sure if you are aware of NLP. So NLP is neuro-linguistic programming. So this is the way people process information. Part of NLP is a subsection of processing skills. Now, each of us as a young child has put into place a dominant one, secondary and tertiary. Dominant means you'll be in it most of the day. Secondary may be a couple of hours. Tertiary, hardly if at all. So there are 3 of them. They are visual people. Now, visual people process information through pictures. So as I'm speaking now, a visual person will be creating a picture in their mind. Auditory people, it's about the words, the sentences, and the paragraphs. So understanding all those different elements, and that's how they process. Kinesthetic people, I'll do that word again. Kinesthetic, they process information through the body language, tone of voice, emotions, and feelings. Focusing specifically on music, because it might change in other areas of your life. When you're listening to a song completed of yourself or of others, is it about the picture of the song? Is it about the lyrics, or is it about the feeling?
In a perfect world, all 3. I'll literally tick them off. I think when I listen to a great song, I want it to remind me of something, like the picture of like, how do I envision myself in this song, of like, what does it make me think of? I think I want it to tell a story too, you know, and I think telling the story helps to transport you to that place of whatever the song is trying to get at. And I think like every song does need that feeling of like that intangible thing, that the goosebumps, the inexplainable kind of thing of why you are drawn or you love a song so much. If I can make people feel that through my own music, like that's genuinely all I could ever want. You know, I just want to connect with as many people as possible through my stories. And if someone out there is comforted or is helped through anything that I have to say through my songs, then that's all I could ever really want.
But now, when you're listening to songs by other artists, are you able to just relax and listen to them for what they are? Or is your technical, creative brain unpacking what you're hearing?
Depends what mood I'm in. I think inevitably there's always going to be the little songwriter in my brain being like, oh, wow, that was really clever, or like, oh, that was a great tag, or that melody is fire. Like, I'm always listening to songs in that scope because I'm writing songs every day and that's just what I do. But there's also moments where I just completely tune everything out and don't care, and I'm in the car with my friends and just, you know, screaming Justin Bieber at the top of my lungs just because I love doing that, you know?
Yeah.
So I think it just depends.
So I know it's all very secretive in your guys' world. What can you tell us is coming up over the next period of time?
I won't be too secretive with you, but I'm really excited about this next chapter of music. I have an EP coming out this year, which is exciting. It's my debut EP. I'm really excited about all the songs, and I feel like I finally have kind of found my sound, you know, as an artist. And I think it's something that you chase, like, as an artist for such a long time, figuring out, you know, what does a Jordan Anthony song sound like, you know? And I think I've finally found that well, which I'm excited about. And the EP feels really cohesive in that kind of sound. So I'm really excited for that. I'm looking to perform, tour as well at some point in the rest of the year, which will be exciting. But yeah, lots of new music incoming, that's for sure.
So what is your sound that you've discovered?
I think for me, where it all started was me and a piano, ballads, you know, singing at the piano. And so I think at the core of all these songs, it's that, but we've kind of packaged them into like big anthemic pop ballads. I like to think, you know, if like Lewis Capaldi and Justin Bieber had a baby, that's kind of the vibe. It's just, you know, big. It's a scary thought actually. But yeah, that's kind of the vibe that we've been going for. Just big, emotional, singable. Yeah, that's the aim.
What do you love about performing live?
I think performing live is why I do what I do. Like I said, it's so easy to get caught up in numbers and Instagram and TikTok and viral and this and that. When I'm in a room, just me singing my songs to people and seeing that like face-to-face connection and seeing the way people are moved by songs and by music, it truly reminds me of why I started music in the first place. And it's so special, and performing live is what makes everything else feel worth it for me. I love songwriting and I love creating the music, but seeing how that translates human to human is my favorite part.
So I'm that human that's right up in front. I'm dancing, I'm jamming. I'll take my cell phone out for maybe 1 or 2 videos, 1 or 2 photos, and I put it away. I notice a lot of people these days are busy with phones, posting, tweeting, whatever they're doing while the show's happening. You referenced that face-to-face connection, but from the stage, and you potentially seeing a bunch of phones compared to faces, do you not feel that takes away from the connection, or it's just where society is at this moment?
Interesting. I think I agree with both sides. I think it definitely can take away. And like, even when I'm at a concert, I hate having my phone out and constantly taking videos, even though I will take the odd video. I like will never understand people that are like filming the whole show. I'm like,
Yes.
we got to enjoy it. Like, let's enjoy the show. Like, I
Yes.
feel so locked in when I'm watching a show. Like, the last thing I really usually want to do is take my phone out. But I also get that people love to create memories out of those moments and show people and throw it on Instagram and TikTok. So I don't know. I think it's just the world we live in right now.
So I love me a CD. I still budget for my CDs every month. For me,
Love that.
for me to thank you to you. Thank you to you guys for all the hard work you do. I love the journey of the choice, the unpacking, the booklet, and. I'm unsure if you are aware, massive uptick of physical around the world. I was reading in Variety about 3 weeks ago that in the US last year, $1.4 billion spent on vinyl, the biggest since 1983. 2 years ago in the UK, 5.9 million vinyl sold, the biggest since 1990. Also last year in the UK, there's a basket of products that they gauge exchanges on. There needs to be a high number of exchanges for a product to be in the basket. And because of the upsurge of CDs again, CDs are now back in the basket. And the research is showing of all of that, that it's the young kids diving into this world. Then we also have Spotify and all these DSPs that people consume music on. What is your observation of the landscape at the moment?
That's a really interesting take. It's funny, me and my artist friends talk about it a lot at the moment. We think it's coming back around full circle with people craving just real. I think with the surge of like AI and Suno and all of those types of things at the moment, I think actually I think people are going to get tired of that, and they're going to start to like crave the real things again, the CDs, the vinyls, the live shows, stuff like that, real singers. And so I think it's actually going to come around full circle. I know that AI and stuff has been a big uptake in the last 18 months, and it's been a big topic of conversation. But yeah, I think those stats speak for themselves in kind of what I'm saying of it coming full circle. And I'd like to think it will. I think as someone that I pride a lot of my artistry on my, performance and my voice and real authenticity through my music. So I think it's going to come back around. And I think those stats kind of back it up a little bit. But I love it. I think it's awesome. I remember, the first CD I remember we got Adele, 25, and Sam Smith and the Lonely Hour. Those were like my two first CDs I bought. Love those albums.
Do you think the general public need to have an understanding more about the imbalance? I'll explain to you. So I teach spinning classes, and I did focus groups. So focus group of 10 people, 8 people, and 3 people. Cross-culture, cross-age, cross-diverse. Monies listen to music on Spotify. I say to all these groups of people, if an artist has had 100 million streams, how much money do they think the artist got in their back pocket? The first group of people said 50 million. The second group of people said 1 million. The third group of people said 300,000 to 2 million. And I said, no, actually it's more like 1,000 or 2,000. I know that Ray and Snoop Dogg have been talking about it, a bunch of other artists. A lot of artists, though, I have spoken to have said to me, well, they see Spotify as their business card. They can see that they're blowing up in Perth or Melbourne, Toronto, and Portugal, so they can go there and tour. Do you think the listening audience should have more of an understanding of this, or what are your thoughts around this conversation?
It is crazy because the world of like Spotify and stuff, and like it's hard to make a steady income off of purely music as independent artists in this day and age. But yeah, I think definitely like showing a peek into the behind the scenes is definitely important. But I guess it's also like just the nature of the beast, and we're trying to create stability in one of the most volatile and unstable industries in the world. It's just the nature of being an artist and being in this space. So it's hard. It's a bit of both. I think it's great that people are starting to talk about it more though, and big artists are using their platform to kind of spread the word about like that type of thing. But it's just part of it, I guess, and building it up.
Okay, so I love this next game. I know if I had to ask you this question tomorrow or the next day or the next day, I know your answer will be different every time. Very important. I'm not saying favorite. I'm just saying top of mind. If once we finish this conversation, you want to listen to 5 other artists, who would those 5 artists be?
Great question. The faces coming to mind: Justin Bieber, Lewis Capaldi, Adele, Bruno Mars, and Michael Jackson.
Jordan, the podcast is listened to throughout the world. As a final message to the audience, what would you like to say?
Be kind, smile at people, and go listen to my new song, Wrong Impression.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Celeb Savant. Please follow Barrett on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook at Celeb Savant. That's CelebSavant.